I'm 𝐰𝐰𝐰𝐿. Welcome to 𝐵 Inspires. It's time to give your children a childhood they won't have to heal from. Good morning and welcome to Wednesday Wisdom with 𝐵. Today I was going to talk to you about how do we change our traditional parenting to just unconditional loving our kids. I had an amazing guest on my show yesterday, and this was the topic of discussion. And what she was saying made such good sense. You know, when we stop labeling things good and bad, when we stop rewarding in order for them to do something, and we teach them things that they just need to do. And, you know, and they realize, like, I need to clean my room because it feels good to have a clean environment. I'm not going to clean my room because you're going to pay me. You know, I help with the family chores. I vacuum, not because I'm going to get allowance, because it feels good to know that I'm a part of this family that wants to contribute to the family. You know, when our children are born and they cry, we don't get upset and say, no, you're crying, you're bad, I'm not going to be there. We go to them, we hug them, we love them, we nurture them, we figure out what that need is when they're a young child. But yet when they get older and they start having these behaviors, we start judging it and saying, okay, this is good behavior and this is bad behavior. What if it's not good or bad? What if it's just a behavior? And every behavior that our kids display is a way of communicating. It's communicating a need that they need to have met. So what is that behavior saying? You know, and I actually brought up a situation like, what if your child forgets their coat? You know, and she was saying that, you know, a lot of us, if our kid forgets our coat, we say, okay, well, you know, natural consequence, you're going to be cold all day. But yet she's like, but if we're in a car with an adult and the adult says, oh, I forgot my coat, we're like, oh, let me, you know what, I got an extra one in the car, or let me go run back to the house and get it for you. We're so accommodating. But yet with our kids, we feel like this need to teach them that lesson so they don't do it again. And so what I was asking her is like, well, if this is the truth, like, how do we teach them? How do we, you know, not enable them by like, oh, you forgot your coat, let's go back and get it. Now everyone's late for school because you forgot your coat. And it's an everyday thing. She says, well, then you talk to them and you say to them, like, you know, I noticed that you've been forgetting your coat. What do we need to do to support you? Do we need to put the coat, you know, by your backpack that you grabbed? Do we need to put a note? Like, what is it that you need to be supported? So it's no longer a bad thing. There's no longer a consequence he's going to have to suffer through because he forgot his coat. So, I mean, it, you know, talking to her, it made perfect sense. And what she says is that when we start to do this with our children, they start to realize that their behavior, whether it's good or bad, it's not going to take away the love that we have for our children. We're going to continue to love them unconditionally, no matter what, no matter how they show up. And, you know, I know because I've raised my older kids, and I did punish. I would punish them for not having good grades. I would punish them for not keeping their room right. Like, there was always consequences. And I did use a lot of rewards. And what I noticed is that what I thought I was doing for them was teaching them right from wrong to prepare them for life. What I didn't realize is there was probably times they felt that, okay, I'm in trouble with mom, so maybe she's not going to love me, or maybe she's going to be disappointed in me. It's like taking my love away from them. So when I was talking to my guest, Carlina, yesterday, it just made so much sense when we start to take on this instead of seeing what's wrong and rewarding what's right, that we just show up for our kids so they know that no matter what they do, we are still going to love them unconditionally. There's nothing that they can do to take away that love. And we need to support them through those choices that are not great. It's asking them, like, what is it that you want? The choice you're making right now, is that going to take you towards it? Or is it going to take you away from it? And if it's going to take you away from it, what do we need to do? So it's a team effort. It's not an I, it's a we. We are going to work through this. You know, another example, and I use this a lot, is like grades with our kids. You know, what does it mean to you when your kid brings home their report card and they're not A's and B's? Are you that parent that gets upset that, oh my gosh, you got a D or you got a C? Like, why aren't you getting A's? I know I used to be that parent, because I had in my mind that if my kids weren't making good grades, then I was failing as a parent somehow, that I should be, make my kids study more. I should make them be able to take these tests and pass them. Like, what am I doing to fail my kids? So I really made it about me, not my kid. So now that I have my do-over with my twins, I have a whole different approach. When they have a grade, I just ask them, like, what does it feel to you? What does it feel for you to have this grade? And if they like it, I'll say, okay, great. Then we celebrate it. And if they don't like it, then I ask them, what do we need to do to support you in getting that grade up? And I generally don't ask the teacher for them what they need to do. I put that on them. If it's your grade, so you need to figure out what you need to do to get that grade up. So you go and ask the teacher and say, you know what, I don't like this grade. What can I do to make that grade better? And sometimes kids aren't getting bad grades because they're lazy. I mean, that it could happen, but not all the time. Sometimes they don't know how to ask for help. Sometimes there's an issue with the teacher. I had one client that would raise his hand just like this, low down instead of way up in the air, and the teachers wouldn't see him. So he felt the teachers just ignored him. And in all actuality, the teachers just didn't see his hand up. So it's investigating what is really going on to make that grade be that. Because our grades that our kids produce in school is not a measurement of who they are. It's a measurement of them understanding the subject or the lesson and being able to take a test to prove that they understand it. That's really what the measurement is of a grade. So we really have to say, like, where are we putting the focus with our children? Are we putting it on the behavior that's not good or the behavior that's good? Or are we putting our attention into our children and just letting them know that they're loved unconditionally? And that, no matter what behaviors happen, we're able to look at the behavior, see what needs to be met, and we're able to help them and support them through that. So if this sparks interest in you, please go watch my show on YouTube, Be New Inspires. It's also in my Facebook group, Redefine Parenting. So you can watch it there too, live. My show's every Tuesday at 2:00 Eastern time on Zingo TV. It's an app that can download on Roku or Fire Stick, and it's on channels 250 and 251. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.